Welcome to Deena and Javen at the Regent Street. We are so happy to be here for episode 2.
Woohoo!
Welcome. We're glad to be here. And the thing that we want to, the way we want to start this time, this second episode, is by critiquing the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, Deena, take it away.
Well, I did make a few notes for you. Okay, first of all, I'm really disappointed in the lack of treats.
Oh, right.
So next time I would like a bowl of Cadbury mini eggs or a burrito or something. I mean, come on. I also want you to tone it down with the amazing hair because it is stealing my thunder. Okay? Thanks.
Okay, great. All right, I'll get right on those. So my critiques for you would be fewer burritos. We talk about burritos more than we talk about anything else between us.
It's probably true. Well, and cinnamon rolls.
And
True story.
So many cinnamon rolls.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But I didn't have a lot of critiques for you, actually. Deena does this every day. She's on camera every day. I have scarcely been on camera since I won Best Actor in a feature film in 2007.
Well, you know what? It shows.
I know.
Just kidding.
My first critique for me was how I yelled at the beginning of the show.
I didn't notice that at all.
It was like, you turned it over to me and I was like, yes! Yes!
Well, you were excited. It was episode 1. I felt like I was a little too enthusiastic, and I even said, should I tone it down a little? But I just, I want it to be relaxed. I want us to be ourselves, and that's me.
Yeah,
okay?
And I keep looking at Deena, and that's one of the things I don't want to do. That's another critique, because I found my profile problematic. And so I'm not going to look at you for the rest of the episode today. I'm just going to look.
I'll hold this up so that you are not distracted.
Several times.
Fired. I quit.
Yeah, so I'm just going to look straight forward. Also, I don't want to laugh as much. So I'm going to be very stoic. You be the funny one, I'll be the straight man.
I'll be the laugh track. Maybe we should get a laugh track.
We need a laugh track after the way you responded to Blueberries and Sadness.
Oh, I know. I still want you to create a band and call it that. That got deep. That was deep.
It did. And we've talked about it since.
Speaking of things that make us sad, though, you're a little bummed with something that happened. You got a thumbs down.
Yeah. So on the YouTube page, I noticed that there's one thumbs down. And, my initial response to that was to mock it. I wanted to make fun of that because it's funny. I think that it's good that there's a thumbs down option. I think that's a good thing. I like that people have choices. Oh, I'm looking at you, sorry. I like that people have choices, but the choice to actually use the thumbs down strikes me as funny. Because, I just imagine this person sitting there watching us and going, oh yeah, Deena and Javen, you think you can just have your little YouTube channel and talk about whatever you want? Thumbs down, a-holes.
Because you're going out of your way to make sure to tell somebody not feeling it.
Yeah. So I found it funny. However, then I thought about it differently.
Okay.
So when Shakespeare was sort of wrapping up his career, one of the last plays that he wrote was The Tempest, and it may have been the last play he wrote by himself. And he kind of does this thing that feels like it's a farewell to the theater. And he tells us at the end of the play that his purpose was to please. And that is profound, right? Because, you go to college and they teach you all this rubbish about, how the arts are supposed to make society better and all that kind of stuff. And it gets you pulled into this sort of Platonic republic sort of view of the arts, right? Which is bad for the arts, by the way. Shakespeare teaches us that no, the way that the arts are the most powerful is by pleasing, right? And so, as I looked at Thumbs Down Guy, and I think of it as a guy, maybe it was a woman, I don't know, but I'm calling you Thumbs Down Guy. My thought was that, Deena and I, that's what we want. We're doing this because, we're just like everyone else. We get up in the morning, we wonder if this is finally going to be the day where, to put it in Yusef Komunyakaa terms, where mercy rocks us, where joy finally uses us like a whore. We are wondering if this is finally going to be that day. And you know what? the way that we're going to get there is by doing what we do, which is trying to please our audiences. So nothing would please me better than to, by the end of this whole experiment, to turn your thumbs down upside down. And that's sincere.
All right, Blueberries and Sadness. You know who the thumbs down was definitely not from?
Who?
My mom.
Okay.
Do you want to know why?
Yeah.
She didn't watch our episode.
No.
My own mother. Okay, I'm an only child. She has one kid.
Deena's an only child. She's an only child. I am one of 7 children, and my mother watched it. Yeah.
All right, you know what? Here's what happens. You know, when you've got a kid who's an actor, parents are excited about it at first.
I totally thought Deena's mom was like the consummate stage mom.
You know, I think she's just gotten used to it. She's gotten over it. She's like, another video or another show. That's, oh, good job. Good job.
Good.
So we have asked her, have you watched it yet? Are you going to? I'm going to do it. I'll do it tonight. She's been saying, I'll do it tonight for a month now. So you know what, Mom? Unfriended. Blocked.
Me too. Me too. We're done. We're done. Deena,
Yes.
you're divorced and sad. Tell us about Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Wait, you're divorced and sad too, right?
A little. I'm a little divorced and sad.
A little bit.
But I'm not as divorced and sad as you.
Well, right, because I've been divorced and sadder longer than you.
Right.
So I've
Well, I don't know if
had.
you're sadder, but you're definitely divorceder.
Well, I think both are, because this was my 3rd divorced and sad and lonely Valentine's Day. So I'm an expert. This was your first.
Yeah.
So I welcome you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's lovely to be here.
Yeah. How was it for you?
Yeah, so I was really surprised that, I was sad before Valentine's Day, and I'm sad after Valentine's Day. Valentine's
Use your
Day.
words,
Yeah.
yes.
But I was surprised. I was surprised at how sad the day was.
Yeah.
I was very surprised.
And you know what sucks? Is that you see everybody's posts of love on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we could look at it optimistically, right? And be like, that's really inspiring. My cold black heart is not dead, but it is kind of dead, so it kind of sucked. But because it was your first, what was it like for you this year compared to last year when your life was different?
Yeah, well, I was actually thinking about that on Valentine's Day. So about this time last year, I was consumed with Aristotle's metaphysics. I was reading Aristotle's metaphysics, and I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be uppity here or anything.
Here we go.
Humbly, as somebody who's read everything, Aristotle's metaphysics is the hardest thing in the world to read. And I was consumed with this idea of the unmoved mover. I literally would get up in the night and think, wow, this, and I would connect it and see these connections to it everywhere. Do you know what I am like? Do you know what I get up in the night about this year?
What?
I am consumed with, why won't bright eyes turn around? Like that is the much bigger question for me. Why? Just turn around.
Just do it.
That's it.
I feel you.
That's my first
I felt that on a
Valentine's.
profoundly
Use your words.
deep level. Okay, we asked for Valentine's questions,
Yes.
and we got some because we're obviously the experts. What did the people want to hear?
First question. What's the greatest romantic play ever written? And we didn't even have to think about this one.
No, we had an answer instantly.
Instantly.
Yep. 1, 2, 3. King Lear. Next.
Hands down. What is the best gift for Valentine's Day?
Blueberries and sadness, if you ask Javen.
Really good, really
Cinnamon
good.
rolls and burritos, if you ask Deena.
Definitely. A horse.
A horse.
Gotta have a horse.
Maybe a hitman, a hired hitman.
Hitman would be good, but you know what I really want? A staircase. I just want a beautiful staircase. That's all I've ever wanted. I see Gone with the Wind, I want the staircase.
So if you're listening out there and you're interested, I mean, that's maybe the way to your heart.
And you're single, staircase.
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 We've also been asked something else as of late.
Yes. So I've actually got this question a few times, and we got this question. The question, Deena, was, are we dating?
Next question. So speaking of Valentine's night, when we were together, we had dinner at May's on Regent Street.
Lovely.
The best nachos you will ever have in your life. Obsessed.
We love you, Maze.
So much. And then we came to the Eccles and we saw The Illusionists. I didn't know what to expect. I'd never really been to a magic show like that before. It was pretty mind-blowing.
It was a lot of fun. I haven't been to a show like that. I don't remember the last time I was at a show like that, but we had a great time.
There's like 5 guys and they all have a different ability that they do. The Mentalist was so great.
He was our favorite.
The mind reader, he's dressed as a very stereotypical nerd. He's playing that up. He's got really great energy. He was so entertaining, but also so good. We couldn't figure it out. I kept yelling, "What's going on in here? How are they doing it?" His name is Chris Cox. I had to go and look him up and see if I could find out any of his secrets. Couldn't find anything.
He was amazing. He was so much fun. And the entertainment value of it was cool. Like the magic tricks and things like that, that was cool. But I loved the ones who were real entertainers. So like the Mentalist. And then I loved the ringleader of the evening because he just had this sort of old school circus leader quality. He was funny. A lot of what he did didn't even seem like magic. But it was magical in the way he just had control of just what seemed like out of control situations.
It's quite an interesting examination in improv skills, incredible improv skills, getting people from the audience who may or may not participate, using kids from the audience. It was really cool.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. We also saw A Doll's House Part 2
at Slack. And I have to say, I hadn't read the play. I had heard of the play when it came out. I was interested in it, but I had not ever gotten around to reading it or seeing it. And I was a little skeptical, I mean, it's picking up on this, really well-known play. And I just kind of went in going, okay, what's this going to be?
Yeah.
And I loved it. I just loved the play. I felt like it was just so real. I thought the actors were good in this production. I really enjoyed them. What did you love about it?
So I had read it, and same thing. You're thinking, who takes it upon themselves to write A Doll's House Part 2? Okay, but
it is A Doll's House Part 2. Like it's not. It is what it says it is.
Yes, exactly. 15 years later, Nora is back. And I thought the acting was so great too. I mean, I felt like I was riveted. I couldn't take my eyes off of them and Nora. And so many lines keep playing in my head, having to do with where I'm at this time in my life, being divorced and reframing what I even think about marriage at this point. And one of the sections that really stands out is she's talking about no longer believing in marriage because who are you going to be in 3 years from now, 5 years from now? And the odds of people even staying together as we are constantly changing, it just doesn't seem realistic. She says in 20 years, 30 years, marriage is going to be a thing of the past. And the audience is laughing. We're all relating and we're laughing. But those are the things that I'm thinking about in my own life, right? How does it really last? We're different people all the time. What are the odds you find 2 people that are going to stick with it and power through it together? Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about it. And another section that I had told you I really liked is when she says, I am my best self when I'm by myself. And I've thought a lot about that and whether that's, how I feel now post-divorce or not. Some days, yes. Some days, not as much. But it's really a play that's relatable for anybody, right? Whether you've been married or divorced, are in a romantic relationship, hope to be in one, a parent or not, you're going to find something familiar and very visceral.
Yeah, the arguments between Torvald and Nora just felt so real. They felt like the tension there was so wonderful that they're both telling the truth. And it was so great because, Torvald would say things and you'd be like, yes, and I was surprised. This is what I was surprised about. I mean, I first read A Doll's House when I was in college. I was a kid, I was 18, 19, and I had all this, it riled me up for various reasons. And then, I went into this life of theater and literature, and I felt like, that I had resolved all of that and everything. And then I go in there, and Nora comes in, and she just harrows all this up in me. I was so surprised that these emotions that I had about A Doll's House were still there. I was amazed by that. And I just loved some of the things that Torvald said, and that Nora would say back, and it just felt real.
It did.
Loved it.
And it was really cool to see how they launched into both a familiarity with each other after 15 years and right back into arguing with each other in the same
exactly.
way. And you go, oh, I get it. I've been there, I've done that too.
Yeah.
So go see that, go support Slack. What else have you seen?
So I went to see a local band, a Utah-based band called Stone Company, at Piper Down, and it was just great stuff. It's Americana music. These guys are so good, so just really creative, lovely music scene here, and they're really cool. And they just released a single called Whoa Boy, so look that up. Stone Company, Whoa Boy. These guys are really good. I had a great time.
And it makes you want to dance. I saw a video of you on the internet dancing a jig, so.
Well, that was, I had 3 Diet Cokes.
Whoa,
Diet Cokes. Yeah,
settle down.
I was a little bit amped.
All right, crazy. Let's bring it down, okay? All right, let's get ready to talk to Mary Dixon. I'm so excited to sit and chat with her. Let's bring her up.
Awesome.
We are so excited to have the one and only Mary Dixon here. I was asking Mary, how do I intro you? You do so many things.
I know.
Okay, TV host,
Yeah.
personality, arts supporter, writer, journalist, playwright. I'm exhausted. What don't you do?
I'm exhausted. Sleep. I don't sleep. That's the thing I don't do.
We thought it would be really fun to have you as, we're establishing our own new arts show to bring on the expert, somebody who has had a long career of interviewing artists and people in this community. We know you from Contact on PBS. And that's what you do. One of the things. So well.
I absolutely love doing that because I get to meet the most creative, the coolest people. And it gives me, I get to meet all these artists. There is so much creativity in this town and high quality. The arts going on in this town is something that people have no idea how much there is, how many good people there are. I mean, you two, your performance, by the way, is Blanche Dubois was one of my favorite. It's just really a pleasure to do that show, and I find out about everything going on so I can go to everything. And I take people when they come in from out of town, and they're always blown away by how good the arts are here. And it gives me hope in the world. I have to tell you, it gives me hope in the world because I also have people on who do incredible service projects, and I think, okay, there is good in this world. There are so many people trying to do good and do the right thing, and that show gives me hope. Some days I'm so touched by some of the people who come on that I almost tear up because it really does give me faith in humanity.
I bet, and I did want to ask you what you learned from that because you take
so
away
much.
something new from every exchange or encounter. I would imagine.
Right. I do. Okay, you know what I learned? I had this young boy come on once, and I thought, oh, he's so young. What could he possibly have to tell me about the Taco Festival? And then I asked him why he started doing this, and he was a young kid who was doing it with his mom and sister, and he said, I drove for Meals on Wheels, and when they cut funding, I knew I had to do something, so I thought I would do this. And it's like 4th or 5th year, and he's raising money for this event, and I think I so applaud people who are willing to take a risk and start something to help other people. I mean, that one just really moved me, and I wasn't expecting it. I thought, okay, people are good at heart. Yeah.
And it's nice to let yourself be surprised.
Yes,
by that.
yeah.
Now, you've been involved in the community as a playwright as well. Let's talk about Exposed.
Okay,
What is
Exposed.
about?
It's not this play.
Okay, Exposed, and no, it's not some porn thing. It's my very personal story about me and my sister. I had thyroid cancer and she died. And we grew up in Salt Lake City, and in the neighborhood we grew up in, we counted 54 people in a 5-block area, starting from when we were kids who got like leukemia, brain tumors, various cancers. And we just thought that was a normal, regular thing, that everybody got cancer at some point. And because I was a journalist and I was writing about what was happening at the Nevada test site, but I had no idea that's what happened to me. And I started researching, I started speaking about it, I started writing about it, and I went to this writer's retreat in Point Reyes, California for a month, thinking I would finish a manuscript for a book about what testing did to people living downwind. And I ended up instead writing a play. I didn't know what I was doing. At first it was a series of monologues, and I have actor friends. I say, okay, will you come read this for me? And they're like, I think you need to write the play, and you need to put you and your sister in it. And I said, I can't, it's too painful. And they said, that's the story, Mary. You can weave everything else in around it, but that's got to be the core. And that's what I did. I would sit at my little laptop in a coffee shop and write and cry. It was, and Aidan Ross is the most incredible playwright who became my guardian angel during this whole process, and she would read scenes. And she said, Mary, writing's easy. Just cut open your veins and bleed. I bled all over those pages. I mean, it has humor in it too, I have to say, don't be like, but when Plan B, Jerry Rapier found out I was working on this, and he called me up and he said, I want to read your play. And I said, no, it's not finished. He goes, I don't care, I'm going on vacation, just send me what you've got. So I sent it to him, and he called me the next day and said, Mary, I want to open my next season with this. And I thought, you do? It's not finished. It's not finished. And he goes, it will be. And I thought, oh my God, I have a deadline. I'm good at deadlines. I have to finish this. And I did. And I give Jerry credit for shepherding that thing and making it happen. And he's incredible at what he does. He had this great cast, and it was incredibly painful every time I saw it. And then we'd do these talkback things afterwards. It was emotionally draining, but I got someone from The Garden in London came to see it. Someone from the Chicago Tribune came to see it, and they wrote me these incredible reviews. And they came, a lot of people, because it's about real people. All the people in it are real. And those people came. One came from New York because it got doused by fallout, upstate New York did, and he had written a book about it. A doctor from Missouri. There was a professor at MIT who came. These people just came from all over to see it, and I just couldn't believe they did that.
And you have a couple of readings coming up.
I do. So if you didn't catch it, there are 2 staged readings with great cast. One is February 24th at 6:30 at the City Library, downtown Salt Lake. And the other one is March 10th at 6:30 at the Viridian Center in West Jordan. So come out and see it. It's kind of devastating drama, but it'll change the way you think about the government, it was 40 years of cover-up and lies. Yeah.
And these readings are directed by, you were telling me?
Yeah, Robin Wilkes-Dunn.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cassie Stokes-Wiley's in it, Justin Ivey. It's got a great cast. I'm really excited.
You do. You have an all-star cast.
I know.
Have to go and see. And
come see it. Come see it. Come see it.
And speaking of your writing, you were also mentioning to us before we started that you are working on a book.
I am.
Based on something else very near and dear to your heart.
Okay, this is crazy. Like in 2009, I started taking in international students to live with me. The first one was from Saudi Arabia, and I just fell in love with these kids. I had at one point 3 living in my house at the same time. A Chinese boy who, when he showed up, barely spoke English, and it was so cute. And then I had another Saudi. So I've had mostly Saudis. They are the most respectful, wonderful, loving, family-oriented people I've ever met. I would not have known that had they not come to live with me. And we formed what was this kind of really unique, rare little family, and they referred to us all the time as our little family. Let's just go with our little family. And I have this yellow house in the Avenues, and they always called it the yellow house of happy memories.
Nice.
It's so sweet. And one of them came for a month, the Chinese boy. He stayed 4.5 years, and he never wanted to leave. And most of them stayed their entire college experience, and I just love those kids so much. I went to China. One of the Saudi boys and I went to China with the Chinese boy when he went home to visit his family. I've been to Jordan because I had a student from Jordan when he got married. I went to Jordan to his wedding. It's just been an amazing experience. You never really can have world peace until you have people from other countries come live with you.
How did you get into that? What made you give that a try?
Okay, well, I had just gotten separated and I wanted to keep my house. I needed to pay my mortgage. And my niece had taken in a student from Korea, she and her husband, and she said, Mary, you ought to get an international student. So I thought, oh, well, why not? And some of my friends said, are you crazy? You don't even know these kids. I said, I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And I said, you know, they'll come and it's only for a year. And if it doesn't work out, they can leave. And you know what? The first time the first boy showed up after like probably 2 days, I said, you can stay here as long as you want. And wow. I still talk to him on the phone all the time. They call all the time. My poor Chinese boy is now sequestered in his house because of the coronavirus. So he calls all the time to ask me for recommendations for movies and Netflix series.
And can you imagine coming into your house full of art and wisdom and what you are able to introduce and expose somebody to?
Right.
Like how lucky. Mary, you are
they
so
loved it.
inspiring.
They loved it. Oh,
and it's
thanks,
so nice
thanks.
to just have you remind us to keep an open
Oh, you just have to, I think you have to keep your mind and your heart open. And you know what my motto is? Always say yes. Just say yes.
I love it.
It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Oh, I'm so happy you're doing this.
Who speaks about the arts in the city.
Thank you.
We're grateful to you for coming on.
Thank you. I'm grateful to you for doing your show. Thank you.
so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank
we
you.
love you.
Oh, you guys are the best. Look at them in red.
Mary is incredible. She really inspires you to look at the world in a whole new way.
Yeah, she's awesome. We're so glad to have her on. Thank you, Mary.
Okay, so you, Sting and Honey, you guys are about to start rehearsals
We are for Black Comedy. It's all cast, and Black Comedy goes up in March. So look for that. And then we also are auditioning right now for The Seagull. Look for information on stingandhoney.org.
I'm excited. I'm excited for this season. You have such a killer season. Before we say goodbye, we wanted to end with stories of inspiration. I was telling you earlier that there's been something that's been on repeat through my head, and an experience that I had way back in the day in acting school in New York. So we would always have a guest, artist come in and speak, and they'd talk for an hour or two, and it was so fascinating, the people that we would get. But one of the ones who really stands out to me was Mary Steenburgen. She was so beautiful. She just glows. She was so inspiring. And she talked to us a lot about how she started and coming up at the neighborhood playhouse and being a struggling actor and doing, community theater, not making a living at it, and looking hard at herself in the mirror one day and saying, if this is as good as it gets, is that okay? Am I happy with that? And knowing, you would take that. You would take, the community theater level, if that's as much as you were ever going to experience and get because you love it so much. And that's, still you're going to experience it with that level, and might not get better. You might not make it to Broadway. You might not make a living at it, but that's okay because it's in your heart so much. And, I remember being 19 years old listening to her and thinking, yep, if this is all I ever do are these plays in school, that's it. There's nothing better than this. And I just think about those words a lot. Is this as good as it gets? And am I okay with that? And I've thought about it a lot just with life as I've gone through life, and it's been in my head a lot lately. I think as we've talked about the transitions in our lives with divorces, being single parenting, moving into my own new condo for the first time, and having these new normals for myself, finding the ways that I can stand on my own 2 feet that I've never had to do before, finding a lot of power in that, but also, I mean, what a drastic life change in the last couple of years, and thinking, is it as good as it gets, and am I okay with that? It's a cool check-in.
I love it. And it's really connected to what I wanted to talk about. When you asked me about this, what came to mind is something I actually spoke to the Cinderella cast about this past summer. So this past summer, one of my teachers from grad school, one of my Shakespeare acting teachers from grad school, Jonathan McMurtry, passed away. And you know, on social media, everybody was posting their love for him and you know, what a great actor he was. And here's the thing about McMurtry, and I hope I don't offend any of my fellow Globies, but McMurtry was not a great teacher in the traditional sense, right? But he was one of the best Shakespeare acting teachers I ever had because of who he was. He was an astonishing actor. And so, you know, our classes were like, you know, he would just, you would get up there and you would do your monologue and he would interrupt you and say, no, not like that. And he had this real voice, and he would kind of just do your monologue for you, right? And he would do it amazing, right? And it didn't matter what character it was, male, female, didn't matter. He was amazing. And then, of course, we'd work with him on stage because he was an associate artist with the Old Globe. And we would get to see his work there. But the thing that he placed in me was a true love of the actor and what the actor does. You know, so often people talk about actors as flaky. You know, it's just this kind of like shallow way that we talk about actors these days. And McMurtry made me understand and believe that it is the greatest of the art forms. The greatest. It is a human standing in front of humans, being a human. And there's nothing more beautiful than that. And he made me believe that. He made me stop talking about actors, which I was an actor. Even actors learn to talk about actors this way, right? Mm-hmm. And he made me stop doing that. He made me realize kind of what you were saying. Is this as good as it gets? It might be. And it's that good, right? Acting, being an actor is that good. So that's mine.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. That's a perfect way to end. All right, well, we'll see you again in a month.
Thank you so much.
Tony Shalhoub, if you're watching, come on our show. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook too.
Facebook, Instagram, and Tony Shalhoub. We worship you.